In this video, we'll be diving into one of the most common and unwanted off flavors found in beer, the papery off flavor, also often described as cardboard-like or stale. This off flavor is typically associated with oxidation, a chemical reaction that can seriously compromise the quality and freshness of beer. While it's not harmful to drink, it can ruin the intended taste profile and overall enjoyment of the beer. Let's start with how the papery flavor forms. The primary culprit is oxidation, which happens when beer is exposed to oxygen at any stage of the brewing process, but mostly post-fermentation. Flavor deterioration can be caused with even very small amounts of oxygen. During oxidation, certain compounds in beer, especially unsaturated fatty acids like linoleic acid, degrade and react with oxygen. This reaction produces trans-2-nonenal, an aldehyde most commonly responsible for the stale, cardboard-like aroma and taste. This reaction is slow and often not immediately detectable. However, over time, especially as the beer sits in bottles or cans, the concentration of these compounds increases. This is one of the main reasons why beer staling occurs, particularly in beers with longer shelf lives or poor packaging integrity. Preventing the papery flavor starts at the brewery level. Controlling oxygen exposure is critical at all stages, from mashing to post-fermentation, and especially during packaging. Here are some control strategies. Minimize oxygen pickup. Any steps taken to minimize oxygen exposure during the brewing process will help prevent oxidation. Oxygen is only intentionally introduced during wort oxidation before fermentation begins. To minimize air contact, techniques such as gently mixing grist with brewing liquor to avoid splashing, smooth beer transfers, and proper packaging are essential. Breweries achieve this by using closed systems, CO2 purging of transfer hoses, pipes, and vessels, and low oxygen filling equipment. Reducing oxygen pickup is especially critical during packaging, as the air inside the package is the greatest contributor to staling. Lower temperatures help slow oxidation. Breweries should store beer at cool temperatures and encourage retailers and consumers to do the same. Additionally, it is important to prevent shaking of the beer during transport. It is crucial to keep oxygen level to a minimum, ideally below 0.1 parts per billion in packaged beer, as the threshold for oxidation typically falls between 0.05 and 0.1 parts per billion. Lower beer pH helps slow the formation of trans-2-nonenal, while higher alcohol content and a greater percentage of specialty or colored malts in the grist further reduce the development of oxidized flavors. This means that stronger, darker beers tend to age better than lighter products. So what does oxidized beer taste like? The flavor is most commonly described as wet cardboard, paper, or old books. Some tasters also note sherry-like aromas and characteristics, particularly in aged beers. It often dulls the hop and malt character of the beer, making it taste flat, lifeless, and less aromatic. Bitterness may seem more astringent or muted, and the mouthfeel can become thinner as the beer loses its original complexity. This off flavor is easier to detect in light lagers or beers with a delicate profile. More robust styles may mask it temporarily, but with time, even strong beers will reveal the papery notes. Many breweries use sensory panels as their first line of defense. Trained tasters can detect papery notes at very low concentrations. When you're assessing oxidized flavor in beer, swirl the glass to release the aroma. Take a single short sniff and repeat if necessary. Breweries may also monitor dissolved oxygen levels in beer, especially post-fermentation and post-packaging. Instruments like dissolved oxygen meters and total package oxygen analyzers are crucial for modern quality assurance programs. Higher DO readings correlate strongly with the likelihood of oxidized off-flavor development, making DO a critical control point. To wrap things up, the papery off-flavor in beer is a classic example of a preventable flaw that emerges when oxygen finds its way into the brewing or packaging process. Caused primarily by the formation of trans-2-nonenal, this off-flavor dulls the beer's freshness, often rendering it flat, stale, and disappointing to the consumer. Good sensory panels and diligent quality control can identify and help prevent the problem. For brewers, the takeaway is clear. Minimize oxygen exposure at every step, invest in quality packaging, and store beer cold whenever possible. For drinkers, understanding this fault can help you recognize when a beer isn't at its best, and maybe choose a fresher bottle next time.